this episode of the Connecting Faith to Life podcast. I'm Trey Rhodes, a Connections pastor at Northwood Baptist Church here in North Charleston, South Carolina. In just a few moments, our lead pastor, Dr. Tommy Metter, will be joining the conversation as well. In our crazy and chaotic world, our hope is that these few minutes will help you stop and reflect on your relationship with Jesus as you learn to connect Christ-centered faith to your everyday life. As you are counting down or counting up, we are on episode 147 of the Connecting Faith to Life podcast. And as you listen today, take a few minutes to invite someone. Just say, hey, listen, you got to listen to this. And we are building our audience continually. I had 2 or 3 people Sunday again say, I just started listening. Y'all, that's really pretty good. Well, And so I said, you can reference all kind of things, not just the first 1 or 2. Keep on going. You're going to get great things out of it. So tell them on Facebook and Twitter. Don't just tell me. Tell your friends and invite them to come be a part.
I don't know, about 10 years from now, Trey, we'll have a really big audience.
Yeah,
we might all over the world, and
we might have 100 or maybe 150 people listening.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
That would be cool. 150 people listening. Have a private jet taking us places to record on location, and be fun.
Well, we did. We've already done that before. We're in Israel.
We did do one on location.
It wasn't private, but it was an expensive jet.
There was nothing about that jet that was private. No, that was faux show.
It was pretty much the opposite.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. That was fun because you got your scooter taken away from you.
I had a weird.
You had a weird experience,
but it was. I mean, I would not change it for anything.
But you got your scooter. You got your scooter back. Didn't you?
Got my scooter back, and I kind of got my dignity back. And the good news is there were no fountains for me to run through without a shirt on.
You kept your shirt on the whole time, which I was really pleased with you for keeping your shirt on
because it was cold.
It was cold.
But anyway,
You ready to go back to Israel?
Actually, I am.
Yeah.
It took me a few weeks to say I would go back because, man, I just had to process everything. But I'm ready.
Well, a lot to process. It took a lot out of you. That was a big trip for you.
It was. But I've learned a whole lot, and it will be much better next time.
You provided a lot of comic relief for us, buddy. I appreciate you.
That's my goal in life, to provide comic relief.
Yeah, it was fun picking on you for a couple of weeks.
Amen.
Yeah, amen. It was.
Well, thank you, brother. You're a blessing.
But also encouragement as well.
Amen.
You were an encouragement.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I reckon so.
It was cool. I mean, really, I know it's not a podcast about Israel, but it was really cool to see your reactions to all the different places, and that was neat.
Yeah,
that's
what's so
cool.
lot.
Yeah, that's what's cool for me about going every time is I get to see first-time reactions of people. That's really powerful.
And I cried a lot. Yeah. So especially at the place. The only place I didn't cry I thought I would was Golgotha and the empty tomb, but I never got to see it. So there's that.
Well, that was that strange place.
But anyway, every other place, I think it was the appropriate response.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway. Well, Pastor, we're going to be talking today about something that I was telling you earlier that I've never really experienced. I've pretty much been a teenager and then got married before we went to the mission field and was on the mission field with my wife.
At 14 years old. How old were you?
Pretty much. I was married at 20. I guess I was 21 when I got married. Yeah, but I turned 22 later on.
So
when we were on the mission field, I turned 22.
You never experienced really any singleness in your life.
Now that I would call singleness. I mean, in that I was younger.
You were a ladies' man, had lots of girlfriends.
Yeah, well, that is true. But I don't know about the ladies' man, but I fooled enough women to date me until Kelly. But that was only till I was like, I met Kelly when I was 18. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
And so
did y'all 3 years of
did y'all go to Liberty together?
Eventually.
Okay, so you went to Liberty and then she came and followed you there.
Several years later, yeah.
And so did she see you on the gridiron and the one play you played in college football?
She did not see me in the one play, but she did get to see me on the sideline.
She got to saw you suit up.
I was suited up on the sideline. I want to get those pictures. I know we have pictures of that
too, because I don't know if our listening audience knows this or not, but you were a Division I college football player. Were they Division I? No, they were probably like Division 14 at the time.
Yeah, they were NAIA. Yeah, he's actually NCCAA, which is National Christian College Athletic Association. So it was below NAIA.
But you were a college football player.
I was a college football player, but
you played one play.
Yeah, actually it's 2 plays.
2 plays.
First play, it was just a regular play. We stopped him. And then the second play, I bumped the ball into my other linebacker's hand, and he intercepted the pass. So I was going to be out there. I was going to be there. I was going to be there until the last play of the game because he put me in like 5 minutes to go, but that was the end because we got the ball and we held the ball until it was over, so we never.
But you
never
contributed to that big play. That's good.
I did.
Good job,
and we won.
Yeah,
we did well.
Way to contribute.
But Kelly didn't get to see that.
No, that was your
moment of glory.
That was in Massanutten, Virginia. That was the name of the place, man. Isn't that the weirdest name? It's big. It's some kind of military school, like Citadel.
I kind of feel like that pastoring sometimes is a mass of nuts.
I know, man. It is. It was anyway. It was a strange thing.
I kid.
But really, even in college, I was already dating Kelly. I didn't date in college. So I mean, I just don't understand. So this is going to be interesting for me.
So your story is very different than our story, right? So Staci and I, we got married a little bit later in life. I was 30 when we got married. Can we tell them your age?
To do ages?
I mean, I'm just saying to help our audience understand where we were in life.
That's what we're doing.
Staci was older than I was, or still is older than I am. I know she doesn't look it, but she's a little bit older than me.
You're kind.
So she was a few years older than me. So she was 30 something else when we got married, and so we had spent a lot of time as single people before we met and dated and got engaged in that whole process. So our story is very different than your story. And I wanted to kind of talk about this today because I know for the last month or so around our church, we've been talking about marriage a lot. We've been talking about it on Wednesday nights and Sunday nights. We've been talking about it on the podcast. We had your wife here. Staci's been with us for the last few weeks, but we haven't really talked about singleness at all. And in our church, I mean, that's a growing segment of our population at Northwood. We have a lot of single people. We have single again people who maybe have gone through a divorce or some kind of life change, and they find themselves single again. And then we have, people who've seen their spouses go on to be with the Lord. Yeah. So we have, in those stages of life, but we also have a lot of young single people. We have our influx of college students over the last couple of years. They're graduating college, and a lot of them are staying here in Charleston. So now they're entering into the workforce, and they're staying in our church as single adults. We've had some single adults come and be a part of our church, and so we're seeing that age group, I guess, between 20 and 30 and single really starting to grow in the life of our church, and that's an interesting place to be in life. And Staci and I can talk from experience saying that's an interesting place to be in life. And so if you're listening today and you're single in that stage, Staci and I obviously don't have any experience with the single again stage or losing a spouse stage, and I don't want to experience either of those stages. But we do have a lot of experience in the single adulthood stage as far as young single adult and walking through, and it is just a unique time in life. And so I want to give some encouragement to those who might be listening who find themselves in that stage of life, or if you're listening today and you know someone in that stage of life, maybe you might want to share this podcast with them because
that'd be
it could
a good
be
idea.
An encouragement to them. But let's just kind of put it on the table. So my story was, went to college, Mercer University, Macon, Georgia, and I didn't meet my future spouse in college. And honestly, I really wasn't thinking. I mean, if it had happened, it'd have been nice, but I was just enjoying college. I was having fun, doing my thing. And I dated in college some, but nothing really too serious. But then I entered the ministry full time when I was 21 years old. Wow. Which was way young to be entering full-time ministry, but I did it and I'm still in it. So I guess it's worked out.
It's worked out.
But man, oh my goodness, that could be another podcast episode of Young and Dumb in Ministry. It was wild. So I was 21 in full-time ministry, and my first job was worship leader and minister of education is what they called it. And then I entered my first pastorate at 24. So again, really young to be doing ministry, but I did it and survived and all those kinds of things. But I tell you, going from college into ministry and just the shift of mindset was huge. College, fun, hang out, lots of friends, do your thing, no pressures, ministry, all this pressure that now was upon me as a 21-year-old young man. And then the pressure, and I felt it about, as soon as I got in ministry, the pressure from others imposed on me to be married. Because it is, in our circles, to be a single minister, it's kind of a weird place to be.
Yeah. Well, my best friend, Stuart McCarter, he was single and full-time pastor. Yeah. And it was an interesting situation.
It really is because you begin to hear the murmurings of people. Why isn't he married? What's wrong with him? In fact, when I was at my first church in Augusta as a worship pastor and minister of education. I had a roommate, a buddy of mine from high school. We kind of connected after college, and he moved in with me, and we just roomed together, helped out with the rent and all that kind of stuff. Someone asked my pastor, "Is Tommy gay? Is he homosexual? He's got a roommate." No, I just don't want to pay all that rent.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But just that single minister, what's wrong with him? And I felt all this pressure to be married, and it was an interesting time of life. Staci, what about you? You weren't a minister, but you were single. Your story in college is kind of like mine. You
were in ministry. I mean, you were in ministry though.
Well, she went to the seminary and the mission field and all those kinds of things, so it was a little bit different story.
Yeah.
Can I just make a disclaimer that this is not a scripted podcast? So I'm just
which it never is, but anyway.
That y'all don't know. I don't know the questions he's going to ask me,
which makes it fun.
Yes, really fun. So what's your question?
It was about singleness. After you got out of college,
what is your experience?
What was your experience?
What was your experience? He was
telling
about
pressure?
his experience.
Did you feel that pressure? Were people pressuring you to?
All the time. What's wrong with you? You're going to be an old maid. However,
at 21, you were going to be an old maid. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Well, so I went from college to grad school, seminary, right after that. And for me, grad school was more of the college, fun kind of environment.
It was not for me, but I will talk about that later. Go ahead.
It was for me.
Good for you.
So I had a lot of friends. Everybody was going in different directions. And then I went from there to a 2-year assignment overseas with the International Mission Board. So, I was single, obviously, that whole time. But, I had my radar on, but made a decision early on in grad school that I was not going there to find a husband. I was going there to be obedient and to do what the Lord wanted me to do. And as it would have it, I did not find you there. So
I was not there. I was not in Texas at all. Nowhere near. Well, I was kind of near Texas. I was in Louisiana, but you know what I'm saying.
Still far away.
It's still far away. It's like a 45-hour drive.
Something like that.
Go ahead, dear. You did not find me there.
I did not find you there. In fact, I went around the world.
And I wasn't there either.
And you were not there. But I wasn't necessarily looking for you around the world. I was not opposed to finding Mr. Right, but Mr. Right had not come along at that point. And I was fine with that, mostly. But then you do start to feel the pressure of, is this ever going to happen? All of my friends are getting married. I was in about 25 weddings before ours, and that's probably not much of an exaggeration, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I was in weddings and performing weddings. It was weird.
Yes.
Doing premarital counseling, and I ain't got a clue what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I bet that was interesting.
It was interesting.
Yes. So, yes, and then feeling the pressure from my mom. So my parents are older than most of my peers' parents.
Because they were in their 30s when they got married too, right?
Yes, yes. And I had always told my mom that was not going to be me. I was going to have a different path. But
and boom.
Boom. Yes. So that actually became my story. So, yes, even her friends. So I had been overseas, and this may be one of your other questions, but I had been living an exciting life as a single person.
Yeah, you were in one of the most beautiful places in the world.
Well, I was traveling all over.
And you were traveling. That's right. You lived in Cyprus. That's a pretty tough assignment.
Yeah, it was pretty glorious. Thank you, Lord, for that.
But they gave you that reprieve in Cyprus because you were traveling around Middle East and North Africa,
we were
some crazy places.
Stationed in Cyprus, traveling around North Africa and the Middle East. And so it was a lovely place to come back to in the transitions between our assignments. But yeah, so I come back from that, and my mom's sweet little friends at church just couldn't understand why I was almost 30 and not married.
Wow.
Like, we have a mission now.
Yeah.
You are our mission.
And that happens. Your singleness becomes somebody else's mission.
Yes. Stop it.
Do not set your single friend. Well, I say that we were the result of a setup. Kind of.
We
But that was a different story too.
That was a very different story from a wise woman
who had just gotten married when she introduced us, but she was around 50 before she got married. Was she?
Sorry, Janie. She was not 50.
Oh, my bad.
But
She's not listening.
She
has no idea this podcast exists.
He still thinks that I'm 85.
He's a little off.
Okay.
In more ways.
Well, she was close, wasn't she?
She was in her 40s,
Okay.
I believe, when she got married.
Yeah. So she knew the.
That's not a bad guess.
She
knew
was
the
someone
struggles
that
of singleness as well.
I actually listened to her suggestion because I knew that she had walked the road before me and would not be one to flippantly say, "Hey, you need to go out with my podiatrist."
Yeah, that's
may
right.
or may
That's
not
fun.
know
Jesus.
Jesus.
You had someone try to set you up with a foot doctor.
Yes, I did. I did actually.
Which that'd have been fine to marry a foot doctor.
Yes, if he
But
had known
can you,
Jesus.
if he'd known Jesus, but the conversations you'd have had in the evening would have been much different than the conversations you have now with me.
Yes, I wouldn't have to ask you to cut your toenails. You would do it on your own. Anyway,
You went there, didn't you? You
but
went
that
there.
situation was that pressure. Like, so I came home from overseas and literally came home to my parents' home because I did not have an apartment, was overseas. I needed a place to land. And so I'm thankful that my parents' home has always been a place for me to land if necessary. But in that transition time, literally, like, people would call my parents' house to try to find me. And my mom is that generation where you just answer the phone. You cannot let it ring. You have to answer the phone. And so this sweet lady in my mom's church would call my mom. Here I am, almost 30, call my mom to ask her if she could have my number to give to young men.
Oh, boy.
And
Wow.
Because that's not creepy
and
at all.
she kept that up until finally I was like, Mom, stop answering the phone. But she just,
How many young men called you?
well, there was the one that was the
podiatrist.
podiatrist, and she was so sweet that out of respect for her and to hopefully like move on from it, I agreed to meet him at
You went
Barnes
on a date
and
with I did not know
Noble.
you went on a date with the foot doctor.
I did. I mean, I met him at Barnes
talk
and
about
Noble,
feet?
but I told you this the other night. Like, always have a plan for after, right? You always have to be somewhere,
Oh, yeah.
just in case. So
She left the podiatrist for a
I did. I went.
doctor's appointment with a
I went to
podiatrist.
Barnes and Noble and had a cup of coffee with the podiatrist, and pretty instantly knew that he was not a follower of Jesus, and hopefully he is now, maybe, but that it wasn't something that I was going to pursue, and he probably felt that way too. And then there was the time that the other sweet lady at church told me that she had somebody in mind for me, this precious young man that she had to, just needed me to meet him. And then, so like bombarding me at every direction with, you've got to meet these sweet young men. Now, mind you, these ladies who are telling me this are 30 years older than me. So their idea of sweet young man and what is actually my age group is not exactly the same, because several weeks after this one lady says, there's this young man, I love him, he's so wonderful, you need to meet him.
He was 57.
I have no idea how old he was, but literally the next time she came up to me to talk about it, she said, I have to tell you, he had a heart attack.
Oh, no.
Which was awful. And I confess, the first thing that went through my mind was not how awful it was.
How old is he?
How old is this person you're trying to set me up with? Right. Like, so there was that at every direction. So I was just kind of done with people trying to set me up. Yeah. And also, there are some creepy people out there.
Yeah, it's different, obviously, being a single lady than as a single man.
I agree.
That's for sure. And, in my experience, so Staci had her international mission experience and all that kind of stuff. And, I went from Augusta to Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
I was a seminary student at New Orleans Seminary. And my first church I pastored was in Franklinton, Louisiana. Nobody lives there.
I was going to say, where is that?
Nobody lives there. They can't set you up there. Like there's nothing.
There's a road that goes through it, but literally no one lives there.
Wow.
If they were to set you up, it'd be hard to find a young lady. It was just one of those kinds of places. It was the middle of nowhere. It was, very, very rural, very, just different.
Yeah.
If you live there, it's because of generations.
The
living
genera- I
there.
mean,
it
it had
wasn't
been-
a place that brought people.
There have been dairy
there.
farms and all those kinds of things in the past years, and it was and the church. It was the church I pastored was 25 people the first Sunday I was there. The average age might have been 75. I mean, so they didn't know young people. Right. And so it wasn't like they wanted their pastor to be married, but you ain't going to find anybody out here. And this was, I was in seminary. And so I was only going to New Orleans, which was an hour away from Franklinton. I was only going there a couple times a week because at that point, I wasn't making a lot of money at the church, and I wasn't driving to New Orleans every day. I couldn't afford it. Gas was expensive then.
Man, yeah.
And so, I was kind of in this place where there weren't a lot of prospects. And this was in those early days where online dating was just starting, and it was kind of still a little bit taboo and weird. And I didn't want to, it's just, that was, I know now it's a completely different ballgame with online dating, but like in those days, like, that's just kind of weird. I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
You
the
still have to be
online
careful.
thing in those days was like, did you know that she found him online?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's right. It was still
That
like
word
now.
we whisper.
Yeah, now it's no big deal, but then it was still just kind of taboo, and so there just weren't so I felt this pressure to be married, and then but also like God, how it's going to be a miracle of your grace for that even to happen, because where I am, there
From
is
the sky,
right. You don't have to drop her from the sky, literally, because there's not a single lady in Franklinton, and
Wow.
and it was just that kind of situation. And then on top of that, you think about, I was 24 years old, right, and all my college friends are still keeping in touch with them. They're getting married. They're starting to have children. They're in Atlanta. They're in these metropolitan areas, and here I am in Franklinton, a 24-year-old dude in Franklinton,
Wow.
in this big old 3,000 square foot house by myself.
Did not
My
fit
next
your
door
personality.
neighbors were dead bodies in the cemetery. You know what I'm saying? It was just
This is true. Fact.
it was just not the
No exaggeration.
not the ideal place for a single young man, And so for me, I trusted the Lord that in His time and His way, He was going to provide a wife, right? And I remember even being there. I had a buddy in seminary, and he was kind of the same life experience I was at that time. He was single in mid-20s, and then he met somebody and got married, and praise the Lord, glad for him. But we were having a conversation one night, and this was before he got married. He was engaged, and we were reflecting on his relationship and my plight of singleness at that time. And he said, "Well, maybe God has just given you the gift of singleness." I'm like, "Buddy, I want to hit you upside the face."
Oh, whack you.
No,
that is not me.
No, He has not given me that gift.
He would tell me.
Right.
He would tell me, by the way.
I'm glad you met somebody, but I haven't yet. And so you get those,
Right,
and
like
that-
they start to think your life is over because you're not.
and that becomes kind of the weirdness of singleness, is that one, and especially in my situation, like, how is this even going to happen, right? Where I am in life and where I'm living, and other people are getting married, and so you kind of have that. Well, what? And then as when they start to get married, sometimes the relationship changes that you had with them, and then it's just a weird place sometimes, right? And struggling through that, and so but it wasn't all bad at all. Mm-hmm. Singleness was a unique time in life. I did feel like as a single man, there was this pressure, especially as a pastor, to be married. In fact, I had one of my pastors that I served with in Augusta. I served 2 churches in Augusta before I moved to the New Orleans area. And one of the pastors told me, "You will not find a pastorate as a single man."
Wow.
And I'm like, "Well, thanks, buddy. That's really encouraging."
Wow.
I pastored 2 churches as a single man,
Mm-hmm.
and both of them were wonderful experiences. Even the church in Franklin was a wonderful experience.
Mm-hmm.
Those people loved me and cared for me. So I proved him wrong. But anyway,
Amen.
but it was different, I mean, there's just all this pressure, like you've got to find that woman because your life is not complete. You're not a real pastor until you're married with a family. That was kind of the pressure that I felt like I was under as a single pastor. And that pressure, I mean, obviously it lasted for a long time because I entered ministry when I was 21, didn't get married till I was 30. So that's a long time as a single pastor, right? And so there was that pressure. There was that just interesting, unique time of life. But looking back now, it was also a really good season of life in a lot of different ways. And I think Staci would attest to that because I think about some of the things that I was able to accomplish. Mm-hmm. I was able to go to seminary and get 2 master's degrees and a PhD. Now, I could have done that as a married man, but when I was in the PhD program, I knew lots of guys who were married with kids, and they struggled.
Oh, yeah.
They struggled. There was stress and trying to balance. I didn't have to balance anything. Well, I had to balance my church, obviously, but when I got home and got done with my work with the church, I mean, I could read, I could study, I could write and do all those things. And so I was able to finish that PhD. I was writing our dissertation when we got married. So, after we got married about a year, I was done with it, and boom, before I had children. Well, Luke was born I graduated. Luke was 5 months old when I graduated.
Yeah, I think I've seen a picture.
Yeah. So that was.
But you were already finished though. For
I was
a while.
finished. Yeah, I was finished. I just had to walk and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
So just some of the things that I was able to accomplish, and Staci was able to accomplish as well, because we had that unique gift of time. Like you were able to go on the mission field, which as a married person, that would have been
right
a little more challenging to do.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for that season where there would have been. I mean, maybe God would have eventually opened up the doors to travel overseas and do missions in other capacities. But as far as being on the field for 2 years, I am very, very grateful for that season. Had I been married, I wouldn't have even been open to that, right? That would not have been something that I would have thought feasible.
Unless you're married to someone who had that heart's desire. And
correct.
Right.
Correct. But so I wouldn't trade that. No, I'm very grateful. And those experiences the Lord has used time and time again.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And not just for my benefit, but for others, right? Yeah. And for His glory, hopefully.
Yeah.
And all of that.
Yeah. So if you find yourself in a season of singleness, it's not wasted time.
No,
right?
not at all.
Like God really used that time.
You're not half a person.
No, you're not. And you're a follower of Jesus. You're complete in Him, right? Your identity is not in who you're married to, right? I mean, I know we've been talking a lot about two becoming one flesh, and certainly, there's that uniqueness of marriage. But man, you're a whole person as a single person.
Amen.
I mean, you really are. And I even think about, I would not trade my marriage for anything. I'm glad I met my wife, and I'm glad, but I'm also glad for that season. I mean, looking back, there was those pressures and those, and the ups and downs of dating and all kinds of craziness that went on in that. And while I'm very thankful for the marriage I had with my wife, I'm also thankful for that season of singleness, because I think back to that season of singleness, not only did I get to accomplish some things that may have been more of a challenge as someone who's married with a family, but I got to have some really deep friendships. Because I had time for it.
Yeah,
you might have time for friendships now. I feel like I've got a good, circle of friends. But I mean, as a single person, and Staci got to meet some of those friends. I mean, I had these because what happened when the day was over at the churches I pastored, I didn't have to go home and make sure the kids were okay and all that. I mean, I had time every night. It seemed like I was at somebody's house eating dinner. You know what I'm saying?
That's neat.
And so the church, it really became my family, and I was able to devote a whole lot of time to ministry and having some really deep relationships with people that just honestly, because of time now and having my own family, I'm not able to do like I once was. And so that for that season, that was a real gift.
Yeah.
To be able to do some very intense discipleship that honestly I just can't do like I did because of having a family. And so again, there were those benefits of that time of singleness that allowed me to accomplish some things that were really cool, that allowed me to invest some time because I had the time that maybe I can't invest now because of family obligations. And so again, it's not wasted time.
No, and I would say that not only was that a benefit to you, but our future together, right? Because you were able to establish and dig in deep roots with people that you shared love with and they loved you, then I reaped the benefits of that, right? If you had not invested that time in them, I wouldn't have felt that love from them as well. And so it was beneficial to me looking back that you were there. And I think singleness affords a freedom that you do not have as a married person.
Right.
There are some freedoms that come with being single that allow you to be used by God in directions and in different ways that you are not able to be because He gives you other responsibilities in marriage. Yeah. And if you have children, those things. So our attentions can be fully devoted to Him in those seasons of singleness.
Yeah. So I guess the point is marriage is great. Wouldn't trade for anything. But singleness is great too. Right? Whatever your season of life you're in is, if you're following Jesus, it's a great season of life. Like God is in control of every season that you're in, and God is doing a work in you and through you in every season you're in, no matter what season you find yourself in. And so, I would just encourage you, if you're single and listening, if you find yourself in that season of singleness, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Because there are some really cool things that you're able to pursue and accomplish, some real cool relationships that you're able to build because of this unique season in life. And, and I would also say a couple more things. One, if you're in that season of singleness, don't be so focused on that future spouse that you actually end up lowering your standards because you so desperately want to have a mate. Don't do that. And neither Staci nor I did that. I don't think you lowered your standards.
I don't think so. Although there were times when people were telling me that I needed to.
Yeah.
Which is
of course they do. They just want you married,
right?
Regardless. You know.
Well, what you don't want to do is lower your standards and end up in a marriage that is not God's best for you. And,
right.
And we've both seen misery come out of that.
Absolutely.
So.
And as you were saying that, though, in the season of singleness, I would caution those who right now are in that path, right? Not to allow the desire for marriage, a future mate, to become an idol. Right, because when we focus so much on, I'm single, I don't have anybody, that just negates what the Lord can be doing in your life currently.
Right.
Yes, it's okay to dream, it's okay to hope for, pray for, but when that becomes such a focus in our life that we are blinded to what the Lord wants us to do in the moment, because all we can think about is, well, maybe my mate's over here, maybe he's over there, maybe if I just do these things, it can become an idol, which distracts us from what the Lord could be accomplishing currently.
Because that statement, I don't have anybody, it really is a lie from the enemy.
Yes.
Because looking back, I certainly felt the pressure to be married because of the position in life I was in as a single pastor. But looking back, I was also relationally full. I had a family that loved me and cared for me. I had my relationship with Christ, obviously. And I had, I pastored 2 churches that absolutely went out of their way to show love and support and care for me. I had lots of good, healthy relationships. I might not have had a wife, but I had lots of relationships that were very fulfilling and very helpful for me, right? And so, I certainly don't believe it lie. And just kind of looking back.
Opportunities to observe.
Yeah, lots of different
godly marriages
and godly marriages and not so godly
you.
marriages and everything in between. You had those opportunities to learn and to, I think it was helpful. And, I think that time of singleness, you really kind of knew what you did want in a spouse because you had time to observe and think and pray through all that, right? And the only, looking back now, I did feel that pressure, and I think I allowed myself to feel that pressure too much. Looking back now, if I would have known, and I didn't, if I would have known that God had planned for me, Staci, to meet her when I was 28 or 29 and be married when I was 30, I probably would approach my singleness a whole lot differently, right? Because I think what happens when you're single is you do spend a lot of time worrying. Is it ever going to happen? Stop it. You don't have to worry.
Yeah.
But
God's
at the same time, it is a legitimate heartache.
It is. It absolutely is.
And so we don't want to discount that.
No, because we were there. It is a struggle. All I'm saying is you don't have to worry because God is in control. And the reality is the reality is the vast majority of single people are going to be married someday. That's just truth. That's reality. That's statistical fact.
After Elizabeth Elliot's husband died on the mission field, she was a missionary for I think the next 41 years and then got married when she got back from the mission field. So, you think somebody, I guess she would have been probably 60s, in the 60s when she got married again, but she found the right man and, lived a wonderful wonderful rest of her life with him. So, there is this thing that you got to say, okay, I got to trust the Lord.
Got to trust the Lord.
Even 41 years after your marriage.
It doesn't change the feelings of heartache and longing for that. I get that.
Of course not.
But just, enjoy the season the best you can.
And by the way, I'm not saying everybody's going to wait 41 years.
No,
I'm just saying that there are examples of people and they found fulfillment in that time.
But she didn't waste those 41 years in between waiting and hoping for somebody else. She was used
She was the missionary
ways.
that her husband, Jim Elliot, never was. She really became that because he was killed.
She was able to.
Yeah. Well, Pastor, this has been really good, I think, for people that are out there
We're
and
done.
are single. And by the way, you
Did you
were
wanna
great
talk-
on
yeah,
the
I mean-
microphone. Did you want to say something?
I- that's 'cause
You said we're done, like you wanted to say a lot more.
No, it's just been fun being with you guys.
Well, we have enjoyed it.
You've-
We must admit.
You've done all right, Staci.
Oh, well.
You've
Because
added
you've been-
you've
really
added a
encouraged her.
certain grace and a certain
You
je ne
have.
sais quoi to this.
You have.
You
Je
know.
ne sais quoi. Shout out to those of you who were talking about je ne sais quoi Sunday night.
Okay.
What?
You weren't there.
All right.
People visiting after church Sunday night.
Je ne sais quoi.
Yes, that was a phrase that was used.
Yes.
Because that's one you use every day.
Anyway.
You don't, because
No.
you don't
Okay.
know
well,
French. But
well-
okay.
thank you. Thank you, sister.
It's over.
You were
It's
very
what Pops
welcome.
is trying to say it's
But-
over.
Thank you,
He's trying to say
podcast
it's over.
world.
We're
over. I'm
done.
just saying it's over for today.
Oh, you mean like
we
you're
would
not
love to
recording
have you
anymore?
back.
No, we're still recording. Everybody's hearing all of this.
Thank you, podcast world, for your graciousness and listening and allowing me into your world.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you, brothers, for letting me sit at
It's
this
like
table.
you just won Miss America.
And I want world peace.
It's been some good weeks. And
Yeah.
Pastor, why don't you close this and get us ready for
It
next
has
week?
been. We usually do this 30 minutes or less, but for the last 5 weeks, they've been over 30 minutes.
What are you trying to say?
You have given us the gift of time.
Yes, you have.
Thank you, darling, and Trey.
We do hope today's episode has been a blessing to you. And if it has been a blessing to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can have new content delivered to your device every single week. Leave us a 5-star review. That helps us get word out about our podcast. And as always, we hope today's episode has helped you connect faith to life.